All right, let's start by creating our two big view components. So under sources, I have a folder here called components. Inside of that, I'll have a lobby.jsx. And let's go ahead and also create another one, and we'll call it game.jsx. What I'll do in the lobby one is basically copy this div right here. I'll actually cut it, and we'll go over here, we'll export const lobby view equal, and here's our component, or here's our function. We need to return the following. And if I go ahead and save that, actually save both files, so that should take this out of this view. I'll switch back to my app. We'll cut the other card here. And let's go into our game.jsx, export, and let me show you the other way of creating functions. Here's our game view, and return. So just keep in mind, you return whatever the UI elements that you want to see, and you can only have one parent element per component. So in this case, I cannot have two divs next to each other unless I wrap them in a fragment or in another div or something of that sort. We'll go ahead and save. That takes it out of the app.js, or out of the view here. If I go back now, if I want to put them back in again, all I need to do is import my two views as components. And we'll do the same for our game view. And notice how they were automatically being imported, and they all come from the component folder. If your Visual Studio Code did not automatically include the components for you, just make sure that you're including it with the right path to where the file is relative to the app.jsx file here. Now we see them back in again. Now, obviously, we know we're not going to be seeing both at the same time. You either see the settings or you see the game itself. So let's go ahead and create a state in our app component, and I'll call this view and set view. And this will equal use state, which we need to import from React. And the default value for this is going to be, let's call it settings, or maybe the lobby or something. All right, we'll save that, and we'll go into our UI itself, and we're going to use this view variable. So we'll do a JavaScript section or an expression section by using the curly brackets. And we'll have a condition that basically says if the view equals settings, then we want to return the lobby view. You can put the question mark next to it just for cleanliness. So let's remove it from here. Otherwise, we'll see the game view. All right, and we can get rid of this line right here. Let's save that and see what we get. So right now, because our state is set to settings, we only see the settings part. If I switch this to game, or really anything else, because we're not really checking for a specific thing here, it'll show us the game view. If you don't want it to be kind of an if-else situation and you want to have control over, let's say you have multiple views and you want to be able to see them all, what I would do instead here is, let me duplicate this line and remove this, and I'll do something like that, where I'm basically saying if the view equals settings, then show me the lobby view. If the view is game, then show me the game view. Obviously, if we set it to anything else, like for example, test, nothing should render because nothing else matches that condition here. We'll switch that back to the lobby or to the settings. And let's go ahead and save that. Right now I get a warning here basically saying that I have the set view, which is being declared but hasn't been used. This is something that we'll fix later on. For now, I can either avoid this by adding an underscore at the front of it, which allows our ESLint here to basically ignore it as if it was a private variable, or we can just remove it altogether. That's not gonna impact the result of what we're trying to do. Reason being is that this is just a regular array destructuring. The use state here returns two items, and we're basically separating them into two variables in their corresponding positional location. So later on, when we actually need the set setting or set view function, we're gonna go back and add it again. So right now what we've done so far is that we started destructuring our component tree into two separate components, and as we go on we're gonna keep breaking those down or destructuring them into even smaller components, maybe to the smallest level of reasonable sized component that captures something that is meaningful to us. So now in the next video we're gonna start building our lobby view.